I was being real with myself in the mirror, which most people aren't. And I just tell people straight up. I was honest with myself. Yeah, I know I wasn't going to be Mr. Olympia. That's why I stopped. It's not even trying to sound cliche. It's affecting us as a whole because now that kid doesn't want anything to do with bodybuilding. That's why I have no problem calling them out. Like I call a spade a spade. Like if you burn people, I'm going to say, okay, look, you burned 3 kids, give them their money back.
I guarantee you when this interview comes out, most likely people try to discredit you, first of all. A lot of people will try to say you're bad for the sport. They're going to say Nick Trigili is bad for the sport.
Of course.
And then they're going to say that, you know, you maybe couldn't achieve certain greatness in the sport.
I get that all the time.
And now you're trying to, you know, talk badly about the sport.
Yeah.
So how would you respond to that?
So I got that first part of that question you just said about, oh, you gave up because you know you weren't good enough. And I said, honestly, that's 50% true because I was being real with myself in the mirror, which most people aren't. And I was saying, okay, well, I won Mr. USA pretty easily, but the next time I'm gonna compete, I'm gonna be against these guys that are all professional. They're not amateurs anymore. Mm-hmm. And these guys have superior genetics. That's why you're a pro. And I just knew at that point there was no more money to gain, which is the number one thing. Once you get in your later 20s, you start realizing I need to have a bank account. I need to set up something for myself. I can't be delusional and realize that money's not going to fall out of the sky. Mm-hmm. Having no contracts, having no support system anymore. All that stuff dies off and you're by yourself. None of your friends are there to help you. Your family members are looking at you like you're crazy now because you quit your life to do this. So to maximize my life and my well-being and my happiness this is the angle I had to take. I don't get distracted by anything like that. I don't read the comments. If I do read them, I don't get affected by them. I don't talk back to them negatively, which a lot of people do, which I discredit them for doing that too. Like you see a lot of guys talking shit to people on the internet and I'm just like, right. Why? Like what is that going to gain you? I think that's going to gain you more negativity. You know, it's not going to help you in a positive light. And I just tell people straight up. I was honest with myself. Yeah, I know I wasn't going to be Mr. Olympia. That's why I stopped. I was totally fine with winning Mr. USA, and I was complete. I was happy with myself. I didn't have any, regrets. My goal was to turn pro, and I did a pro show because I had to, basically. And I'm happy I did it, you know, because if not, I never would have done it. I never would have gotten to meet Cedric and Branch up close and talk to them and really pick their brains. And my thing I got a lot of advice from the best ones in this sport, like Jay when I was living in California, like Dexter Jackson, and they said, listen, if your heart's not in it, just don't do it. You know, that's their best advice. Like Dexter's heart's still in it, that's why he's still going. He's not distracted by anything. He loves this sport. And I love this sport too. I just don't love competing anymore. And that's just one angle of the sport. Whether I want to have a supplement line one day, which I don't, but I'm saying whatever angle I want to go with this, I still love bodybuilding. Like I love it, but the competitive part, I just had to put on the back burner. You know, I'm not saying in 10 years, I might be like, hey, I want to jump on stage and see what the fuck I look like. But that's probably not going to happen, but I'm just saying it's always there for me, the opportunity. So I don't look at it as like the door's shut. You know, I never shut the door on anything in my life. I always keep the door open, you know.
So what were your thoughts on guys like Rich Piana, who also openly injected himself and you know, talked about all this stuff, and obviously he passed away now, but what were your thoughts about guys like that?
So I met Rich a long time ago. He wasn't just Rich at the time. He was training people in West Hollywood Golds, driving his Bentley. I thought he was the coolest guy ever. And he was ginormous, and I talked to him too. And he lived his life, I think, perfectly how I would have done it too. I don't think he held back. I think he was extreme with a lot of the stuff that he showed and talked about. And the problem with him is, like, yes, he was a bodybuilder, but he didn't have much success as a bodybuilder. So for him to start giving that crazy advice on these stacks and like the 12-hour arm workout and like these crazy things.
The criticism that he gave the wrong advice, that was the criticism.
Yeah, I don't think it was, like, even coming from me, like, I loved him. Like, I loved his personality. I loved how outspoken he was. I like people like that. I just didn't like how the advice he was giving wasn't factual. It just wasn't real. Like, I think it was mostly at the end was like for views. It was to make money. And it wasn't, I don't think he was thinking anymore about who am I affecting, you know? When I do a video, my first instinct is like, okay, when somebody watches this, however age they are, what are they going to pull from it? Like, what are they going to see from it? Like, me saying it is a whole different thing of what you look at and what you pull from it. So I always put that in my first, it was my first instinct of when I do the video. But I think Rich at the end kind of just got, no holds bar. It was just like putting out content to put out content.
Well,
But
your injection videos made a lot of people talking about you right now. So don't you have pressure to continue going with that wave? You know what I'm saying? Like to continue that.
well, my website is. I mean, if you go join the website now, like, be honest truth, my lawyer was like, listen, if you want to do that kind of stuff, keep it behind closed doors because that stuff's not credible in court. They can't use your membership area as anything against you. That's if it ever got to that, which they can't anyway. But just to protect yourself, do that stuff behind closed doors in a membership area. If you're going to show how to inject and show how to take stuff and yada, yada, yada. So that's why I put a lot of that stuff now on my website. And I put the price cheap enough. It's $10. So anyone can afford $10. Even a kid that has his mom's credit card, you can put $10 on it and she won't even know. So I made it cheap enough so people can afford it. And it wasn't, the website's not even to make money. I make my money on my clients. That's my money maker. And that's my primary focus. The website's my fun. Like that's my way of getting out there. That's my stage to talk to people and enjoy myself. So that's why I put it back there. But no, I'm gonna keep one-upping it. I'm not gonna stop. I have some really good stuff I'm gonna release. But I'm gonna put the teasers on YouTube and then bring them to my website to watch. So I can't put the whole video out there.
So I watched one of your videos, and you say when a client comes to you, you look at him, and you set realistic expectations. Is that ever an issue to them? Like, let's say somebody comes to you and say, I want to be at that level, and you look at his genetics, you look at how he looks. I mean, is that a difficult process to be honest? Yes
and no. They appreciate me more. Maybe at the moment they don't appreciate me. I got plenty of kids that curse me out and tell me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm delusional. I'm being mean. And then usually 2-3 weeks later, they're like, man, bro, you're honest, and all the other coaches want to take my money, and you didn't take my money, and you told me just to be a bodybuilder but don't compete, and you were real with me. Not all of them come around. I'm not going to sit there and say every one of them comes around. And some still bash me for it. I still see it on the forums. They're like, Nick's dick. Like, he told me I don't have genetics. I'm going to prove him wrong, which, fine. But I'm not going to take your 250 and promise you, hey, bro, you're going to be a pro bodybuilder, which is what they want to promise you. A lot of these kids are very delusional. I told them start at physique. They freak the hell out because they want to be bodybuilders. And I'm like, if I had a stepping stone to move up, I would do it too. Start at physique, get stage presence, get familiar, get comfortable, go to classic. And you really want to be a bodybuilder, then be a bodybuilder. But you have a way of breaking into the sport now slowly instead of just getting thrown a stage in banana hammock and getting exposed and getting your ass kicked and losing all motivation. Now you can probably do well in physique, do pretty decent in classic, and then eventually work yourself up to bodybuilding in a very slow process without getting discouraged. I'd rather have the kid walk away from me just so I go to bed at night and say, okay, Nick was honest with me, and then 2 years from now, if he doesn't get to where he was, okay, now at least I know he's thinking like Nick was real with me. It's not me take his money and promise him all these short promises and nothing comes from it. I don't tell him, no, you can't work with me. That's not what I tell him. I just tell him, listen, you're probably more of a guy that's going to be a bodybuilder but not be on stage, And I charge him a different price for that. I don't fuck with anybody's money. I don't do that to people.
Do you think there's an issue with a lot of gurus or trainers or whatever that is just not honest?
I can talk about this for an hour if you want me to. About how it aggravates me that these coaches are charging crazy amounts of money for zero work on their part. Like they won't even give their phone number to people, and they're charging $400 or $500 a month. And you're gonna give one email a week, and that's their attention. That's bad business on their part, and I don't agree with that. And then I don't agree with them not giving them all the right attention. So if you have an Olympia athlete and you have, let's say, Bob over here who's doing his first show, he needs the attention, honestly, not the fucking Olympia athlete. You can let him kind of go by himself, and you need to give him attention. He's the one that's gonna really look up to you as his first role model and be like, well, so-and-so was my first coach and he burned me and I have no aspire to be a bodybuilder anymore. So now that's one less person in our sport that's buying supplements, buying clothes, bad-mouthing our sport. I look at it as like a bigger picture. It's affecting our community as a whole, not just, it's not even trying to sound cliche. It's affecting us as a whole because now that kid doesn't want anything to do with bodybuilding. He's discouraged. He doesn't want to, he's turned off by it, And a lot of these coaches are just taking the money and sending them cookie cutter diets, fucking up their health, fucking up their thyroids, mentally not making them happy, and they lose motivation to even do it now at this point. That's why I have no problem calling them out. Like I call a spade a spade. Like if you burn people, I'm gonna say, okay, look, you burned 3 kids, give them their money back. There's no reason to do that to people. Like, listen, if the kid gives you your money and you're giving him a half-assed job, that's a different story. At least you're giving him attention. Don't take his money and not respond to him, or don't ever talk to him
That
again.
happens also? They don't respond to you?
Nothing, 0. I have probably 10 to 15 kids that have had that happen to them. And, and they're taking money up front too. So they're taking their $3,000, $4,000 up front from a kid that's...
For like a prep, contest prep.
Yeah, and then they never deliver. They don't even get back to them after 2 weeks.
That's crazy. Well, online coaching business became very popular recently. Everybody's starting it.
Yeah, everyone's doing it.
Even the actual bodybuilders, like pro bodybuilders, starting now. I don't know how they have time to even do that.
Well, that's what I hate to knock them, but some of my friends that are pro bodybuilders are coaches too, which I could never do that. I could never prep somebody and be in that mindset and give attention to them. I mean, you can, but you're not really there. You're kind of spacey. We were just talking about that before. Like, your mind's not right when you're in prep between all the drugs and the food and the dieting and the cardio, and you're selfish at that point. If you're tired, you're gonna go to bed. You're not gonna update Matt's program. Like, you don't care about Matt at that point. And it's not like you're purposely doing it. You're just so lethargic at that point. You're shot. I think the prepping should be done when you're not a competitive athlete. You should be done with the sport, because it's kind of weird too, because I see a lot of guys that are pro and they're prepping pros and they're on stage with the pro athlete. That's really weird. Like, how are you going to prep somebody you're going against? Like, you think LeBron helps out like Kevin Durant on his skills? Like, it's really weird with this sport. Yes, I know it's an individual sport and like it's judgmental, but I would never help out like, I don't know, Phil Heath on secrets. Not that I have give Phil Heath any secrets, but I never would coach Phil Heath or have him coach me when I'm going against him. That's just,
That's weird.
It's very weird. I don't, and then having these coaches, which I get too, because I was actually in this dilemma too, where they have 3, 4, 5 guys in the same weight class at the same show. Like, how are you going to disperse your attention to them? And you're going to have a favorite. That's reality. Like, I don't do that to people either. If I have a guy in the light heavy at this show, I'm not going to take someone else at that show. Like, come on. Like, it's one person. You can live without them. You're not going to lose your car payment over that, your house, because you didn't take one athlete. Put them in a different show. That's all. I think the attention needs to be in that one person at that show if you're going to do that. You can have other people in other classes, but don't burn people like that. That makes them really uncomfortable, and then the coaches don't show up to the shows. It's like, and there's no repercussions for that. Like, people are getting away with this left and right. They're making money, probably not even doing anything. Like, these coaches
getting sued. It's not like it's going anywhere. Just
what's gonna happen? Like, I'm gonna sue you $100 for a plan you didn't give me. It's all cookie cutter. Like, how are you gonna prove that? So, and then these guys that are advertising, like when Shreds went down, they were advertising, $49 things and $9.99 things, and the whole Devin physique robbing people. It just looks really bad. And then these people, there's so many athletes that come to me and they're so skeptical to send me money, they think I'm gonna rip them off. They're so scared. Like, is this really you? I have to FaceTime with them just to prove it's me. And I have to prove my email. I have to prove, because they don't want to send money. They don't want to get ripped off again. Because it's like the 3rd or 4th coach they've been to. It's sad that people are like that.